Good evening. Welcome to the Professor Maima Show. Hope you are doing well wherever watching me from around the world. Please subscribe, share, and like this video. So today I want to talk about Kenya. Kenya is a country in East Africa. We have neighbors like Uganda, Tanzania, Somalia, South Sudan. We have the Indian Ocean there nearby. We have the biggest freshwater lake in the world, Lake Victoria. And I don't know why they have names of former colonialists, something like that, isn't it? So now, Kenya has a population of over 50 million people, as per the last census, and we have been independent from colonial masters Britain for over 60 years, isn't it? And one thing they don't tell you, before the white man came to colonize us for over 60 years, we were free. Before we were colonized for over 60 years, we were totally free. We didn't have any problems. Societies, maybe people can say communities would fight each other, but that is normal. Even the so-called empires, people have been fighting each other all over the world, and that's how empires grow. So now, Kenya as a country has some serious problems. Has 5 major problems that I'm going to talk about. That's why I'm talking about Kenyan clueless leadership. Kenyan clueless leadership. So, as you see, Kenya, the first biggest problem that we have is the issue of unemployment. The issue of unemployment. You have many young people below 40, they're called Gen Zs, as well as millennials, but many young people are unemployed. That's number one. Number two is the issue of corruption. You see, here in Kenya, our politicians are dollar billionaires. Dollar billionaires in a country that Kenya, which is ranked as a third world, very poor, with the per capita or GDP, which is it's like, even those in America, a state like Chicago, our per capita, is it Illinois, a state like Illinois, our GDP is even less than that state because of what we have, isn't it? Because of the corruption. So we find that our leaders are dollar billionaires in a country whereby 90% of the people are poor, just poor. Even there's no middle class in Kenya, it's just rich and poor. The so-called middle class is just a pretense. Yes, they have cars, but those cars are on loans. They live in very small houses which they have rented. So you understand. So even survival is hand to mouth, even for the so-called middle class. And then you have the poor who live in slums. I don't know if you can call it a slum. These are just shanties, hovels, made up of metal sheets, or even paper, or even boxes, with no sanitation. People just help themselves outside there, flying toilets, and what have you. That's number two. Number one, I've talked about unemployment, then corruption. Then number three is the issue of security. You have a lot of insecurity because of terrorism, uh, police brutality, and you name it. So there's insecurity, terrorism, police brutality. There's also the issue of petty crime that is all over because people don't have jobs. That's number three. Number four is medical care. Our medical services collapsed a long time ago. They're trying to bring up things like shisha. They had NHIF. All these are just slogans. The fact is that our medical care, medical service collapsed. So when a medical service or medical care in a country collapse, the hospitals, the doctors, the nursing collapses, whether you try to bring in insurance, it can't happen. A country like America, the medical infrastructure, medical care infrastructure is intact. So they can play around with things like medical insurance, medical care for all. But the medical care structures in Kenya collapsed a long time ago. In fact, we call it medical care infrastructure. Collapsed a long time ago. And then lastly, the education system in Kenya. It's collapsed. There's no education system in Kenya. What we have is classes where people just classes in form of business, where people collect money with no education. So those are the 5 major areas that Kenya has a problem. That's what I'm talking about. Kenyan clueless leadership. Hmm? They're totally clueless. The country is like the Titanic. The young Gen Zs, those are back in the 1911, they built a very big ship. It was called the Titanic. It was called unsinkable. I don't know, so many slogans. That, those days before air travel, now people use these days people are using air travel. It took time. But those days people used to use ship. Even the colonialists who came to colonize Africa, they came on some rickety, it's called what? Rickety wood in the form of ships. They just put wood together and they had guns, very crude weapons in form of guns, and they came and colonized the whole of Africa with all its people, isn't it? But that's a story for another day. So I'm talking about Kenyan clueless leadership. You see, we're like the Titanic. Kenya is like the Titanic. It's going to the way the Titanic capsized. That's what's going to happen to Kenya. Because first of all, because the country is being run on loans, on debt, because the government cannot balance its books, because it cannot balance because the taxes that come in people want to steal, and I don't know, and they are foolish enough to go and hide the money outside, because even them themselves they know the country is not on good it's not on good legs. It can collapse anytime. So what do they do? Because the foundation won't hold for long because of all these pressures I've talked about: unemployment, insecurity, uh, broken education system, lack of medical care, poverty. The country may collapse in future. So they take all the money, they steal, they go and hide outside. Now they come and sell us stories like this thing of the Adani. That Kenya, us as Kenya, we cannot develop our infrastructure because we don't have money. Yes, yet they have a bloated government. If you want to help Kenya, reduce the cabinet secretaries to 10. The president should have only 10 cabinet secretaries, just 10. The money that is saved after you have paid in expenditure, and here you pay salaries. We tax people and then pay them. Tax them, pay them. Then you keep on taxing them to cover the loopholes because of the money is being stolen. Reduce the cabinet. Someone talked of 12 ministries. Me, I say 10. Reduce the ministries to 10. Whatever money you have saved, ensure there's no corruption. Use it to develop our infrastructure, airports and everything. And even if you want to bring in a private investor, and this is just simple logic, you can say the Kenyan government is going to put in 30% of the cost to repair our airport or to upgrade it. You, as a foreigner, put in 70%. In fact, let's even have more than 2 partners. You can have 4 people coming up to renovate Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, which is the biggest airport in East Africa. So what do? The Kenyan government is inside there and these foreign partners. So that as they start making profit, even the Kenyan government, the taxpayers, also earn money. The problem here in Africa, they think that when someone becomes the president, he becomes the king, the owner of the country. No. We, the people, according to our constitution, just surrender our sovereignty to people who elect through the ballot box. We put some papers. Some can even be fake papers, but they get power. We surrender sovereignty so that these people work on our behalf. It cannot be a bunch of clueless leaders. They're selling us things that we don't understand. Because that thing of Adani, that was just pure nonsense. How do you give a whole airport to people for 30 years? When they make the profit, they eat everything. Nothing back to the country. Because first of all, tourists are not coming to Kenya. The business environment in Kenya is poor. The infrastructure, they have not thought of thinking of ensuring that when you enter Kenya, people People who have traveled to a place like our neighbor here, Tanzania. Even let's talk of, it was called Peru, where they held the climate talks. I don't know, it's called Peru, yes. The infrastructure is just world class. And this is a second world country, middle income country. It's not even a superpower like America or a first world. They had the people who went there, they saw those people have, first of all, they have electric buses, they have trains, they have trams, they have all kinds of manner subways. Hmm? So the first thing you see in a country is the roads. When you travel to a new country, the first thing, I went to Tanzania, the first thing I saw was the roads. The road, it was a rural area, but the roads were good. I'm sure if I go to Dar es Salaam, you'll get the infrastructure in terms of the rail network, the buses. Hmm? Number two, the security. Hmm? Do you see policemen walking around aimlessly? Or do you see them in either on a motorcycle, on a bicycle, or in cars? That's number two. Do you have traffic policemen just standing to collect money on the road? No. Developed countries don't have traffic policemen on the roads. They have, like in America, all these people who manage, they're called highway patrol. They're always in cars, moving, not standing on the road to beg for money, which means they're not being paid well. If you pay our police people well and you ensure they have cars, they have bicycles, they have whatever, they're mobile. Because a police force has to be mobile, not standing in one place to collect money. Hmm? You see, that's what I'm talking about, Kenyan clueless leadership. Then you have all these young people educated with degrees, skilled, others are unskilled, school uh, dropouts. Hmm? But what they have energy. So what do you do with such energy? You create big projects. Like me, I've said, Kenya now needs to become one big farm. We say here, shamba. Kenya wants to need to become one big shamba. Whether if someone is not digging on that shamba to produce a lot of food or crops for manufacture, they can work in the industry. Number two, if they're not working in the industry, they can work on supply chains. If they're not on supply chains, they're on marketing. If they're not on marketing, they're in the digital space, like where I am. They're creating things that can be used in industries. You are paying your teachers so well, and those civil servants. I dare say the least paid civil servant should be $1,000, 100,000. And that can only happen if you reduce the government to be smaller, so that now you pay people who are productive. Like America, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, the next president of America in future, they're going to do an audit of American government through a department called Dodge. That's what we need in Kenya. We don't need all these ministries. We need a few ministries that are productive, that earn money for the taxpayers, me. So these things of taxing people to bid for houses will end. The government will just give free land to any investor and then telling him or her to build the houses. And because people are running good money, because industries are there, people are running money, there are many investors, they rent those houses, and the rent is like mortgage. Simple. And the government earns money from the amenities they provide: sanitation, security, power supply, you name it, water supply. You see, now this big thinking. No, Kenya, this Africa, I think we're just cursed. That's what I'm talking about. Kenyan clueless leadership. They need to change. They need to sit down and say, you know what, there you are going. We need to change. 2 years have gone. Forget that. You know me, I'm a soccer fan. I support Manchester United. Manchester United will be losing a match 2-0 until the 80th minute. And then Sir Alex Ferguson, the former coach, will just make 2 substitutions. And then Manchester United equalizes and scores the winning goal in the extra time. That's what President Ruto needs to do, and his government, the Kenya Kwanza government. They need to sit down and say, no, the way you are going is wrong. All these taxes you are putting on our people are wrong. Remove all of them through executive order. 2, make sure that these people who are coming to invest in our projects, they are clean people. And also, the government should have a stake in it. They say, if you are coming to renovate something like the airport, you put up 70%. As the government will put up 30%. We have reduced our government employees. We have reduced the ministries. We have stopped corruption. The money is being used well. And what are we doing? All this water that is raining, we are collecting, we are using our scientists and our universities to collect the water for irrigation, to do value addition, to do industries. In the space of 2 years, Kenya will be the biggest producer of food in East Africa and Africa. We'll do value addition, we'll be the biggest export of products. We'll even be selling these clothes I'm wearing. All our malls that are places for taking selfies and like museums will have Kenyan-made clothes, Kenyan-made shoes, leather products, whatever you name it, being sold in those malls. And Kenya will start earning serious foreign exchange. And our lecturers will be in research because they are paid well. They don't need to teach more than 5 universities. Just teach in one university, get paid good money, do research, innovation. Our young people have jobs. They will be able to invest and gain assets. And even these people who have hidden their money outside, the politicians will bring them back into the government, into the Kenyan country. So this is the Professor Maima Show. I want to pray for you who's watching me, that you have a long life, that you become rich and prosperous, not only you, your children, grandchildren, and all your generations, and all your dreams become reality. Whatever you want becomes reality. Also pray for myself, all my dreams become reality. Those are my prayers, amen. And if you have liked what I've said on this our channel, and support us through the mobile M-Pesa down there, +254 769 729 327. I repeat again, mobile M-Pesa +254 769 729 327. And as I always say, we're here